Perez, who shot the clock.
Byrne wanting a long time to clear that, he dwelt on it too long. Barnes, and Barnes again. 3.
The most technically gifted player I've ever seen at Anfield was John Barnes.
Just mercurial, I think.
His poise, his grace on the ball, his general balance, you know, as a player.
But as soon as he pulled on a red shirt, he used class.
John Barnes to run at Feely, who gets over the fullback, now at Evans, on his left foot.
I think Barnsley was like, you know, just an unbelievable player.
Skill, pace, strength, crosses, top goals.
It's going to be Barnes. Curled brilliantly! What a fabulous free kick goal!
I've always said he was the best player I've ever played with. And
He became a darling of the Kop, and there was nothing he couldn't do. His ability was unquestioned.
When people always talk about the favourite players for Liverpool, it always tends to be Kenny Dalglish. You know, that's what the consensus is. You know, but I always say John Barnes, and the reason for that is that he gave the team something different.
Oh, Watson can't get there. Barnes does. Liverpool have scored.
John could he could cross it on their own, he could head it, he could give it to him for 5 minutes if he needed a rest. He was just one of those outstanding special players.
Finding Beardsley away on the left in a lot of space is Barnes, and he's onside. United have been caught out here. Will they be punished? They are by John Barnes. 1-0.
That ability to control the ball almost instantaneously and to gain half a yard of space for himself is something that you can never teach a player. And the ability that John had was awesome.
Oh my word! What can you do about that? Absolutely nothing.
The best finisher I've ever seen, even in training. And to be serious, I've never seen him give the ball away in training. He was that good.
Little chip by Barnes. Brilliant goal by John Barnes.
His technical ability. It was South American, it was Brazilian, there's no doubt about it, you know.
Apart from being a brilliant football player, John Barnes is a brilliant person, because he joined Liverpool at a time when racism was still around in football. It was still on the terraces.
He was brought in from Watford for £900,000 in 1987. It was important at the time because it knocked down a few boundaries. Liverpool hadn't had a black player since Howard Gale, and Gale had only been a bit part player.
John was very high profile, and he came, and John's attitude was simply, I'll play my football, say what the heck you like, I'll ignore it. And the best way to convince football fans that he was a great player was to do that out on the pitch, and that's what John did.
Barnes, it looks for goal! And
Merseyside clubs didn't tend to have back players, you know. And I remember with John Barnes coming, it caused a bit of a furore, really, you know.
I mean, he put up with some terrible incidents.
And there was the famous banana throwing incidents.
But he managed it with dignity.
And I think that takes enormous strength of character. And for me, John's contribution to eradicating racism from football has been enormous.
got Barnes to his left. Here is John Barnes, onside. That'll do it. That'll finish Manchester City off.
I think perhaps the fact that Liverpool had never really been, never had black players in the side, probably gave John an initial problem. But he soon transformed that way of thinking to become a real favourite, irrespective of his race.
And they just haven't got that right as Barnes strides away and makes it 4. This is wonderful. It's slaughter here.
But he was the first truly superstar black player in English football. There'd been previous players, but I mean, he was really, really something very, very special. And what he did for black players in this country is really quite significant.
Barnes, 2-0.
got to look at John Barnes outside of the context of Liverpool Football Club and look at him in the context of football and the impact that John has made and the model that John has set for everybody in our society to say, look, black, white, green, blue, yellow with pink dots on, if you can play football, that's all we're interested in.
Even, you know, the crazy, stupid people who refused to accept that black players had any worth, at the end of 90 minutes had to admit that this guy was something special, and I think he broke a lot of barriers down, and it was great. I think for me, I think it's great that Liverpool had John.
When he came to Liverpool, we had our doubts how good he was.
There were questions asked about Barnes because there was talk that he wants to go to a London club. He's always denied that, and that was paper talk.
But from that point on, when he came to Anfield, he matured into probably one of the best ever Liverpool players, and he soon became a crowd favourite.
He's got away from Staunton. Marsh it towards Thomas. Barnes maybe. Yes!
If anyone had any doubts as a Liverpool fan, as soon as they saw him in the flesh playing, you know, they were just cast aside, you know.
It's easy to make generalisations, maybe it's even dangerous to make generalisations, but I think there's always the foolish element who had a bad reaction, but most people warmed fairly quickly to him. Once you saw him run with the ball and what he could do with the ball, he won a lot of fans over.
Bjornaby with the crossover, Liverpool! Oh, that's quite brilliant! A terrific equaliser from John Barnes! A magnificent flying scissor kick!
His first home game was actually 3 weeks into the season because there was a collapsed sewer at the Cop End, and in the away games his reputation built up, and those who hadn't got to see him were desperate to see him. In the first game against Oxford, and it was a lockout that day, there was 1,000 locked out. I remember he scored a 30-yard free kick.
It's another lockout at Anfield, where every seat for this match was sold 2.5 weeks ago, and queues for the Cop were forming before noon.
Well, as soon as John Barnes signed for Liverpool, we knew we were onto something good in that game, and just after the Cop had been reopened and he scored that goal against QPR, we knew we were away.
Barnes won it. He won it from Brock. He's got Beardsley going to his left, but still Barnes. That's a fabulous individual goal.
I mean, that team from 87, 88 team, he was the top man. I watched him down that left wing. I used to sit in the Cameron Road that season, and I was in and Steve Nicol down that wing. Steve Nicol and John Barnes down that wing, it takes some beating. You're looking at maybe 35, 40 million's worth of talent with them two now.
He was player of the year that season, and I mean, the older generation I speak to can speak no higher about him to say he compares favourably with Billy Liddell.
He could ride the tackle and then whip that cross in, which people like Aldridge and Beardsley were only too happy to mop up and put in the net. So the team with Barnes, Aldridge, Beardsley in was a fantastic team. It was a shame they weren't in Europe, because I've no doubt we'd have like 8 or 9 European Cups by now.
Barnes. Rush, Barnes again. Oh, brilliantly done! Brilliantly done by Liverpool, and it's one apiece.
He didn't kick and run. He walked past players, and that was the great thing about John Barnes. I always remember him. I always used to go in the corner of the Cop when they were attacking the Cop, and he was coming down the wing by the Cameron Road. He literally walked past players. You didn't know what he was going to do.
I always say that I made him the player he was because he had to have someone to give him the ball, and the majority of the time it was me.
You can go on and on and on about John Barnes' abilities to play football. They were phenomenal. John was one of the most exciting players that this football club has ever seen. His ability to go past people, his ability to cross the ball, his ability to score goals, his ability to pick out a pass are just phenomenal.